Welcome everybody. This is our first live face-to-face meeting and our first live face-to-face speaker. Shaun Martin, the one and only welder with the city of Daytona Beach. So he's going to talk a little bit about his journey through his career and some of the things he's done. An entrepreneurial mindset and how that's helped him throughout his career. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to you.
I guess it's me, huh? All right, well, I started just like you guys did about 35 years ago. Went to school, learned how to be a welder, and jumped into the trade. Now, I jumped into the business side of it first, and I worked at a welding supply company. But I thought I wanted that side of it, but I didn't. I went back into the field side of it. And I welded in a booth, and that wasn't satisfying. Being a box welder isn't being a welder. Being a welder is being able to create, build. Everything around you is put together by a welder. The world is put together by welders. Bridges, buildings, shopping carts. And anything that you look at is touched by a welder. So I said to myself, this is me, the creative side. So I was 19 years old. I came down here to ride my motorcycle for a week, and I went home and told my dad I'm moving to Daytona Beach, Florida at 19, just a year out of high school. And I moved here, and I looked for a job on Friday. Monday morning, I was working at Atlas Welding on Nova Road. They hired me right there on the spot, said, when can you come? I'll be here Monday. I worked for Atlas Welding for a few years while I put my resume out there. Then I went and worked for Superior Industries in Ormond Beach. And that was like, they made these speedy lifts that unloaded and loaded trucks behind Winn-Dixie and all your local shopping places. And that was a good job because it was a place where I could create and advance my welding techniques by inventing stuff for them to use too. And then I worked for them for quite a long time. And then I did a little bit of something on my own. But the 5 kids came. So I needed insurance. So I went to go work for the city of Daytona Beach. And when I started there, I was the 3rd welder in 55 years. The first welder had it for 30 years, the second welder had it for 25 years, and then I started my career there. And I'll have it till I'm over and done with, and then the next guy can start. But in between all that, I also got a little welding business going on for myself. I can't really tell anybody the name in here because Teresa knows. But I do a lot of welding jobs for people all over the place. Throughout the whole city, they come to me. Why? Because I'm good. I'm going to tell you I'm not. I'm good. And the city end of it, I have a 8,000 square foot shop all to myself. Air conditioned, every tool that you could ever want, and then you get to build things and create things. If they want something hung on the wall and they don't have it, Shaun, make it. All them railings up and down ISB, them aluminum railings, when they get hit, I go fix them. I don't go buy them. I go to the shop and make new ones and put them back out on ISB. Anything that's broken in the city that has to do with welding gets sent to me, whether it's email, work order, whatever, and I get to fix it. Now, as she knows right now, that I've gotten so busy on the side that I had to build a new shop at home. So I've knocked down the whole garage and built me a Taj Mahal just to do my little bit of side stuff. My wife likes to go to these art shows and sell things. Well, guess who makes all the stuff that she sells at the art shows? Me on my spare time. So Teresa gets something every year for Christmas. My mother-in-law gets something every year I don't go to the store and buy it. I go in the shop and I make it. There's a lot more satisfaction that you get out of yourself when you can make it. Not only make it on the table, but make it growing into something, you know? So I guess I'm here to tell you that if you're going to do something, make sure you get up every morning and say, I like doing what I do. If you don't like doing what you're doing, don't do it. Life is too short to do something you hate. Everybody says, why do you like your job so much? Look what I get to do. I get to go to work, get to go to my shop, I get to turn the TV on, I turn the air conditioning on in Florida, and I weld. Build stuff, make stuff, create stuff, save people. You know, something will happen. They'll say, the lady fell down. Can you build a handicap ramp for her? Sure, I'll build it. Oh, can you build handrails now? Sure, I'll build it. You can go do anything you want when you're a welder as far as creativeness. As long as you got to have good welding machines too now. You can't just do it with those old Harbor Freight stuff. They don't buy no Harbor Freight welders. They ain't no good. If you're a beginner, I guess they're good. But if you're really serious about welding, get you some good tools. And enjoy doing what you do. That's my biggest thing. Enjoy getting up, going to work, and doing what you do. Now, when it comes to the city, I do just like I would do my own business. Not only do I have to design it, I have to order it, I have to pay for it, and I have to build it. So it's not just somebody saying, okay, here's the material, you go do it. When the job comes in, they say, all right, Shaun, how much do you think that's going to cost? I'll say, less than $1,000. Okay, here you go. So I go, sit at my little drafting table I got, draw up the picture of just say a vault cover. You know what a vault cover is? Around the city, they have a lot of vaults with big, huge water meters. And some are big fire hydrant turnoffs. But they're 4 foot, 12 foot, they're huge. And so the old welder built them out of steel. Well, in 25 years, they all rusted out. So the new welder, which is me, is building them out of aluminum. So we'll never replace them again. But they costed them more money. But I told them, you won't have to fix them again. So you just got to worry about people stealing them in the city of Daytona Beach. So I have to go take my truck out there, look at it, decide whether or not it needs it to be replaced, because sometimes they just say it got a little, and then I determine, yes, it needs to be replaced. Or if it just needs a new hinge on the door, I'll just put a new hinge and let it go for a little while longer. And then I'll go back, draw it up, I work for the Public Works Director, so I'll tell him, yes, it needs to be replaced, how much? Okay, sounds good. Order the material, so I call the supplier delivers it. I go by my measurements, my drawings, cut it all up, lay it on the table, fabricate it, and then I go install it after I paint it. Then I go install it. Then the next day, like I just said, Shaun, the railings are broken on a rental house. Rental house? I didn't know the city had rental houses. Yeah, we got rental houses. So I go over there and the wrought iron railings, been on beachside for years. Well, what do you mean? That's like ornamental work. I don't specialize in ornamental. Doesn't matter. Are you a fabricator? Yeah, I'm a fabricator. I can build it. If that's what it is, then you can build it. So you can go from building a vault cover to building fancy rails on beachside because they rusted out. So not only are you a welder, you got to be a fabricator, just like when you're doing the CNC stuff. You know what I mean? You have to see it. You have to, you've seen, I think this is what we had on the board. Is this what you had on the board?
Yeah, that is, yeah.
Okay, so, well, the board's gone, but not only, you got to see this done. If you can't see this done, then you got to learn how to see this done. That, don't get me wrong, programming that and getting this out of it is awesome, but if you can't see what it needs to look like, you're going to have a hard time fabricating. But if you can see the picture in your head of what it should look like, you'll do great. But if you go, ah, man, I got to do this. And even if you say to yourself, man, I don't know if I can do this, do it. If it takes you 10 of these, 12 of these, 15 of these, do one. Get one done. And every other one of them after that will be perfect. But get that one done. That's perfect. Just like, you know, I got gray hair because I got 5 kids.
All girls.
All girls.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's another story. But the what you guys are doing, and you're not doing what I'm doing, and then as far as the CNC and the automotive, I work with great guys that are in fleet in the mechanic shop, and they're all ASE guys, and they're all awesome fleet guys. But as far as my brother's a machinist, and he gets $63 an hour to do what he does. So, and he's doing this programming stuff too, but he's an upper machinist guy. Now down here, you're not going to start off at $63 an hour, but up where he is, you make good money, you know. So if you find a job somewhere else and you know what you're doing, step on into that job. You don't got to stay here. I mean, I had to stay, but you guys are. Well, I was young up there and came down here, so I don't know if you guys are from here, but if you love what you do you guys like it? Yep. And stick with it. But if you go, oh, this ain't really what I wanted to do, don't do it. Because I stepped out of the welding trade for a couple of years and I hated it. I had to get back into it. Not only because I wasn't doing it during the day, I wasn't doing it at night either. And she can tell you that when I'm home, I'm in the shop. When I'm at work, I'm in the shop. Where do I live? In the shop. Where am I comfortable? In my shop. And I love my job. And I like being a fabricator. I like being a welder. And if you don't be a box welder, don't sit in a booth. Well, you guys will dabble in welding anyway. If you're going to be machinists, you're going to dabble in a little bit. But if you're going to be a machinist, don't sit and make the same thing all day long, because that ain't going to satisfy your machinist skills. You know what I mean? If you're just making center punches all day long, watching something knurl the top of that thing, the top of that handle, you know, or you're just cutting bolts, and the bolt spits out, you're cutting another bolt and the bolt spits out, that's monotonous work. Well, you already know about that?
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing that?
Yeah.
But it's,
Big center punches all day long.
Oh, wow, that's funny.
but she's learning a lot though.
Yeah, well,
So
but
it's a good
how long you
stage
been doing it?
Yeah.
2 months.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, after a year of box welding, well, I call it because you're stuck in one spot, don't do it no more than that. It's good to learn your skills and all that, because it's repetitious, just like welding the same thing every day. At least you can get your techniques down, you know how you weld, so if you go to something else, you're welding it the same way. It's good for technique if you're just starting, but after the first year, if you ain't got the technique, do something else. Go on to something else, because that just gets monotonous to me. Well, what else you want me to say to you?
A takeaway that I heard you mention, whether you realized it or not, when you were talking about, when you're working at the city and you have the shop to yourself and they call you, they say, hey Shaun, we need this. It sounds like, a big thing in this, in the program that we're, a big discussion point is thinking like an owner. And it sounds like you treat it like your own business unit.
It is. I just have a boss above me, and I get the final say. If I tell him I don't think I'm comfortable doing it, that somebody else should do it, then, if it's too big of a job, I don't have the time, or I don't feel comfortable welding on the bridge over the speed over ISB, what car's coming, then he'll say, okay, what do you want to do? I said, well, we should send that out and have it done. Because I'm a one-man guy, I don't,
Safety issues.
exactly.
Yeah.
Fire watches, things dropping off the bridge, all that's somebody else should do that. So I basically can kind of pick and choose what I want to do as far as comfort zone. But yes, it's people from the city, different departments come to me and say, hey, I need this fixed. Hey, can you put a hitch on this trailer? Can you put a new tailgate on this dump truck, So, and yeah, it's up to me. They come to me, they don't go see anybody else, and they say, hey, and I'll say, yeah, drop it off this certain date, and I'll start it and pick it up this certain date, and it'll be done.
Right. Yeah. So you're not sitting there waiting for direction.
No.
You treat it like your own business. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's the problem. How do I solve
Yep.
it?
I got a board like this. I prioritize what's important as far as jobs go. High priority jobs go first, and if it's just simple like a vault cover, it don't need to be done right away, well, it goes down here. But if it's something that has to get done, and I know it needs to get done, it goes right on the top. So vault cover might be here, but it might go to here because something else came on top. So for me, I have to do that because there's things that need to get done that quick and things that don't need to get done quick. So yeah, it's a game to juggle it all, and it all gets done. In the end, it all gets done. No job left behind in my shop.
What's which main welding technique do you use? Like MIG, TIG?
All of them.
All of
I
them?
do them all.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which one do you do the most?
MIG.
MIG.
But I like to TIG. I like to plasma cut because there's really cool things you can do with a plasma cutter. So that's one of my favorite ways to cut with is a plasma cutter. And there's just about nothing you can't cut with a plasma cutter. And then that's if you got a good one. But most of the stuff I do, even if it's aluminum, I still MIG it. Because now they got these high-tech spool guns that you can MIG weld with. And I like the TIG-in because it's more precision. You know what I mean? And you got to make it look good. Mm-hmm. It's not just, MIG weld, just anybody can MIG weld.
Just fill the gap.
Right. My daughter's MIG weld, But TIG-in, you got to have a good, if you got to have hand, foot, coordination, these now. But I like the TIG-in out of them all. And with the TIG-in, there's a lot more you can, play with. You know what I mean? You can TIG aluminum together. You can make it look like dimes around there. You can TIG stainless. You can make that thing seamless. You know, it's just really cool what the TIGGing does. And MIG welding, it don't matter if it's blobbed on there or nice weld on there. TIGGing seems to stick one way or another, but you know, most of your box welding is TIG or MIG welding. Stick welding is kind of like gone. Nobody sticks anymore. MIG welding took that over a long time ago, unless it's some heavy duty bucket on a dozer that really needs some crazy weld on it. Or, you know, some cast iron or something like that is usually, you know, high nickel concentration rod to weld, you know, cast iron. So, and that don't come out of a MIG. You MIG with a cast iron, it's just gonna break right off. Won't even hold. But you get your nickel rod and weld with that and it'd be just as strong as it was before you broke it. So yeah, there's all kinds of variations of different techniques, different ways of welding, you know. You know, back in the day, they cold forge welded. They just beat it and beat it and beat it and beat it and beat it till it was until it was 1, 2, 3 pieces into one piece, you know. So there's all kinds of different ways of. You know, you see these guys doing all this knife building with all this heat, you know. Blacksmith, well, that's still welded. They're still putting all them metals together and turning them into a, you know, one piece of steel. So that's my arms are too old for that swinging hammer stuff. My friend Brian likes to do it. Anything else?
So you would say that your typical day is unpredictable. You could be in the shop welding or anywhere.
Out in the field, yep. Out in the field, cutting the railings out of ISB because somebody just wrecked them into them. And then figuring out what it's going to take to put them back up before race week. Or bike week, or, you know what I mean? That I have to keep that railing pristine on ISB. So.
And then for the stuff where you're out in the field, are you just based out of a truck? You have generators, welders, everything?
Yeah, I built my own truck. The city let me build my own truck. I'll show you a picture of it. How's that? They call it the wheelie machine in town. Yeah.
Any other questions? Anybody? I can think I think I probably have one more. Was that a good way that you have avoided burnout in your career? Is, like you mentioned, I like what you said, because welding and machining are any sort of fabrication, manufacturing trade, or all cousin trades, they're all related. But like you mentioned, don't stay stagnant. Essentially, keep moving, keep trying to grow. It's not hard, even in machining. Sometimes if you're doing production work and you feel like you may be stuck for the moment. But I guess, in your opinion, is that a good way to?
A good release for me is go home and build something.
Yeah.
And then people that say, well, I worked all day. No, you didn't. You played all day. I play all day. I don't call it work. I don't call it work. And everybody at work knows I don't call it work. You know what I mean? They say that you're the luckiest guy here. I'm not the luckiest guy here. I earned this. When you're not paying me for 15 minutes, you're paying me for 15 years of knowledge. When somebody comes to me and says, hey, well, it only took you 15 minutes. Yeah, but it took me 15 years to learn how to do that for the 15 minutes. So, so my whole life has been one big project, if you might say. You know what I mean? I started like you, and now I'm the top guy at the city to fix stuff. But I'm 52 years old. I'm not, when I was young, I don't know how old are you? 27. Well, I was still full of, at 27, but full of energy.
But you were working.
I was working,
You're always
yes.
been
always at 27, I was at Superior Industries building them ramps with a nice fancy truck because I was working and I was a welder. My own place, my own stuff, my own shop, even at 27, might not be as big as what I got now, but I still had, working towards that, and when I retire in 12 years, I will have satisfied my working career, but I'll never be done being a welder. I'll weld until, either I fall down welding or, I die. That's just in me. And once you get that, people desire stuff. You know what I mean? Doctors. You know what I mean? Once they get that itch and they want it more and more and more, well, that's how it is for me in welding, And I like the end thing. I like to know that I started this and I finished this, and it gives you a lot of satisfaction. And bigger things than this. This is just small, but, I built a whole house myself, I started it and I finished it. Well, maybe there's a little trim left that I didn't do yet, but I did, from the ground up, I built the house, and just like now, from this shop up, there was nothing on the ground. I mean, I knocked it down last Friday. Yesterday, all the walls are up. I built it, with some help from my friends, and that's a lot of satisfaction. Perfect example. I could have went out and bought these trusses for my new shop, right? But I said to myself, why am I paying somebody else for some trusses that I can weld up myself? So what did I do before I knocked down the old one? I built all my own trusses. I ordered the material, I cut it all myself, I drilled it all myself, and I put them together myself. And that's just, they're done. They're in the garage, they're done, they're ready to go up. And I built them. So that's my, I'll look up there, yeah, those are mine. I bought them. I don't call anybody for anything, to be honest with you. And you get that mindset when you become a trade person. At least I did, My wife called me, your battery's dead. I didn't call somebody to tow her. I went there and fixed her car. And she drove it home.
I call him. First teenagers.
You know what I mean? And you just, if you're a tradesman, I mean, when he gets in the cars, everybody be asking him, can you put brakes in my car? Can you put a transmission in my car? Because if they know you can do it, they'll be asking you to do it. So, and I like doing it. I just ain't doing it for free anymore. When I was your age, I did a lot of stuff. I did a lot of stuff for free, Buddies come over, hey, do this. Hey, can you fix this? Hey, will you do this for me? And you're always like, oh yeah, I'll do it. Oh yeah, I'll do it. But now, we got a little club called the Binford Tool Club. We have a welder in it. You're looking at him. We have an electrician in it, a Ward Electric. We have a AC guy, Hanahan Electric. We have a wood guy, Custom Built Docks. We have a concrete guy, Jeff's Concrete. And we all run these Binford Tool Club. You ever know what Binford Tools is? Okay, he knows what Binford Tools is. And we're just a network of friends that if you need something, I call you. And you machine it for me. If you need something welded, you call me. If you need AC done, you call Hanahan. But if Hanahan needs something made from you can't tell him, no, I ain't making it. No, I ain't got time. He goes up here on the list. I'll get it done for you as soon as I can. So we got this network of friends and that's how my garage went up in 3 days. My electrician buddy put all his as busy as things are right now, he's been at my house past couple of days putting my new electric in my garage. My other buddy Keith, right there, every day. And me, the city paid me to put up my garage because I have 500 hours in the bank. Yeah, it's a good thing.
Actually, I have it brings up another point. So your side hustle, so to speak. Obviously, lots of friends know you are in the field. That's the same I think disease that we all have being in trades.
Yeah.
But so is that essentially it's just word of mouth, side projects, people need things done, friend to friend to friend type thing? Like your point, you don't even have to advertise.
No.
Yeah.
I don't advertise at all. They just one will tell hey, somebody can do this, and everybody knows somebody can do it. But do you trust them? You know what I mean? Do you trust hiring somebody to get the job done? And I got a name that if you come there and you want something done or fixed, that it'll be fixed, Or, if I'm fabricating something from you, that, this is how much it is, and when it's done, and I'm not going to say it was $1,000 more because I already, or I'm not going to not do it for you. A lot of people, a hit and run. They hit you, they get your money, and they run. They don't do the job. Well, I don't have that reputation in town. Everybody knows who I am. Everybody knows what I do. And sometimes I have to go to art shows with my wife and sit there, but everybody,
Really cool stuff at the
and everybody walks by and they say, "What are you doing here?" Because they know me. I said, "I'm selling this stuff my wife wanted me to sell." So anything from artwork to Daytona septic trucks, you know what I mean? So a big truck might be backed in my driveway, or the art trailer might be backed up to the garage loading up all the frogs I built her. So it doesn't matter, and that's what I mean. From one aspect to another is what I do on the side. I very rarely turn anything away on the side. And that built a good reputation in town. And I really can't tell you the name of the shop on camera, but I will once they shut the.
Yeah, we know how to find you.
I wouldn't allow him to wear his shirt.
And when you started your side hustle, were you well established with the city by then?
No, a long time ago.
Perfect. So the second question is, when you did start the shop, at the beginning, was there a lot of concern, about failing or, how long it would take to succeed?
No, because I already had a lot of confidence in myself, and that's another thing too. Other people can fail you, but you can't fail yourself. You know what I mean? It's up to you to whether or not you want it or you don't want it. Nobody can stop you. Things might get hard, things might get tough, but I always seem to made it better than what I had. And as long as you do a little bit better than what your parents did, you've done your job. That's my thing, My parents are very happy about their 3 kids because they succeeded. So as long as you keep your head up, don't do stuff you shouldn't do, and practice what you love, you'll succeed in anything you try. But if you say, man, that fucking sucks, I don't want to do that, and you got that attitude, you're already starting to spiral down, as I say it, As long as you say, yeah, I messed one up, but I'm trying it again. Instead of saying, forget it. When that guy comes back, I'll tell him I couldn't do it. Oh, man, don't tell him you couldn't do it. Just say, hey, man, I messed up one. I'm trying it again. And you'll get it done. I've messed up a bunch of parts, but I did it again and I made them. So, that answer your question?
When you started with the city, did you know when you first went to work for the city that you were gonna end up being the only welder to take over after your boss? What was your progression through?
No, I was thrown into it. The guy, the 25-year welder, just retired, and the position came open. And a friend of mine said that, hey, you ain't gonna believe this, but the position and I was self-employed at this time, with 3 little girls in my arm and 2 teenagers. So the insurance, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it was killing me. Me and my wife. So my friend said, hey, that welding job at the city just came open. You ought to go down there and apply for it. And I said, really? He says, yeah, you might take a little cut, but at least you'll have insurance and a good retirement. So I just moseyed my butt down there one day, and when he told me, and I went in there, and sure enough, I got the call. You want the job? I said, really? He said, yeah, when can you start? By this time, it was like 9 weeks since they had a welder. So stuff was, there is literally 5 things a day that come in or have to get done or something gets stacked on top. I work every Saturday, put it that way, because there's that much to do for one guy. There's 3 carpenters, 3 electricians, 2 HVAC guys, a whole slew of engineers and all that. But guess what? There's 1 welder. Why? I don't know. But I've asked for help. I told him I need to train somebody because before I go, and my boss said, you ain't going anywhere. He's like, when you go, I'm going, kind of thing. So, no, I just happened to, right place, right time, and I got hired. And I've been through about 4 different bosses that I was under, and then finally the public work director said, you're not going to work for anybody else. You're just going to answer to me, because all these other bosses don't have a clue of what you do. How can you have somebody tell you what to do that don't know what you do? To me, that's, there has to be a guy over here that's 75 years old, that's been welding for 60 years that I'll listen to. This 40-year-old over here that's only sat in an office and wrote stuff down. How can he tell you? He don't know what it takes. He don't know what to do. He can't be a boss. That's my theory on that. So my boss said, okay, just tell me what you need, tell me what's got to be done, and I'll help you get it through it. And that's how that relationship's been working, and it's a great one. He's actually taken the time out of his day to come to my house to see how my project's going. So that's what kind of relationship I have with my boss, that he trusts me, I trust him. So that's something else you got to build with your character, with your boss or with your friends or your peers, that, if you don't know how to do something and the guy next to you that don't ever talk to anybody at lunchtime is really good, go ask him. Say, hey man, can you show me how to do this? I seen you spit them out left and right. How you doing them so good? And that guy just say, hey man, it's just easy. Because that's out there. You're going to come into that. That there's people there that you don't think that, and they know more than you could ever imagine. 'Cause I've been through that too, Big tough guy, but yet there's that guy right there, man. He's super smart, and how'd you get that technique down so good? He told me how he did it. Next thing you know, I'm doing it. So don't be afraid to ask somebody too. And like I said, love your job.
One more question, Shaun.
Oh, come
I've seen your garage and the amount of tools you have in there, and you obviously didn't just wake up and buy all those tools in one day.
No.
So when you started doing your side gig, because a lot of what we hear from the students in the different conversations is how do you get the capital and how do you build up what you need to do your job for your own business. And I know how you are with your money, so maybe just tell the group a little bit of how you did that.
So I'm a little bit of a hoarder with my money. And so if I do a job, I put some right into my tools, and I'm buying tools no matter what. It ain't part of what I'm giving my wife, what I'm taking home. You know, money goes right back into even if I'm buying grinding discs or, you know, saving up for a machine that I want, or the parts washer needs new. Every job, a little bit of that money goes back into my garage. And sometimes you do a job, you get paid real good. Well, guess what? You take that money and you go buy yourself a machine. Don't walk around town spending your money. Because after that money's gone. You can't go back to your shop and go, oh, man, spent my money. No machine. So I put a little bit of every bit of my money into my shop at home. Just building it. I've saved and saved and saved. And I had a shop that I just outgrown, right? And it was time for a new one. And the new one's huge. It echoes when you're in there compared to the old one. That's how much bigger it is, you know? And that's just from, you know, and I went from old machines and sold them and bought new digital machines and, you know, stuff like that. I didn't just stick with the same old stuff. You know, I progressed a little bit in the technical world because you have to do that. I don't have the latest and the greatest, but I don't have the worst, you know? And that's another thing. If you're going to buy tools that last. You know, you machinists are going to buy Starrett and all them, you know, Snap-on and all them fancy, you know, machinist tools, you know. Don't go buy some one at the car show that the guy had and it was cheap and he just told you the battery was dead on a digital, you know, roller, you know. Stick to your guns, save your money, buy your good tools, and always put a little bit of money away, even not for tools. Just put some money away that you can walk around with, that if you see something and it's a good deal, you can buy it. That's how I got a lot of stuff too. Right place, right time, money in my pocket. You know? So put a little bit, to start off, you're going to start off with I started off with a buzz box, stick welding trailers. That's what I did, stick welding, at night, after work. I don't know if you ever heard of Bob 2 hitch trailers. Well, I had a full-time job. Well, I was still working at Atlas too. That was in between the transition from Atlas Welding to Superior Industries. And I would go after work and build trailers for him till 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night. Go home, go to my first welding job. After that, go to Bob 2's, weld trailers. And that's how I started my tool collection. But all my tools couldn't fit in this room. Yeah, my garage now is 10 of these rooms. So, yeah, always put a little bit of money away. A little bit of money for a rainy day. You should be doing that now. At 27, you should have a little bit of money. How old are you?
25.
Yeah, well, Better start getting some. You guys? You better have something going on. How old are you? 18. Oh,
Good start.
you or me? 18. You?
I'm 27.
27?
Yeah.
And you working in the machinist field?
Yeah.
Where at?
Mayhew.
Where's that?
It's on Airport Road.
Yeah. Well, I work Airport Business Park.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I worked in there. Superior Industries. You ever see that in there?
It's like the shop is right at the entrance. So I know.
Oh, yeah. Well, you go.
The old Coastie building, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
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 It's,
Well, you go a little bit further down, take a right, and that first left, Superior Industries. They were down there. You ever went behind any of these Winn-Dixies? You see that old brown and orange Speedy lift? That's what I built when I was your age. And yeah, so I've been welding since I was 15. So a long time. And then I decided to go to tech school like you guys are doing. And then I really, I got the sparks when I was a kid, and I don't really want to do this. And then I got into it where I wasn't doing the sparks sizzling in my ear and going down my boot, and you just learn how to avoid that stuff. But eventually, yeah, I turned it into a life, welder life. See my hat? WL, welder's life. See it on there? So, yeah, I got an opportunity to build my own truck at the city, start to finish. It's all aluminum, all diamond plate. It's beautiful. And when I go to the welding shop, all them guys envy me, saying it must be nice to build a truck with no budget. Yeah, so yeah, my welding career has definitely been satisfactory or satisfying to me. I'm glad I did it. Yep. And my brother, machinist life, has been very satisfying to him too, because he's got a shop at home. It's just totally different than mine. His is all Bridgeports and milling machines and and lathes and all that, and that's his. That's his relief too. He goes and makes stuff in his shop, and he has a little, he does stuff for the townships and light pole tops and all kinds of stuff for people where he lives. So you got to want it. If you don't want it, you're not going to get it. That's in any business. You got to want it. So I hope I inspired you a little bit anyway. If not, I just rambled on. Good luck to you all.
That was great. Thank you.
That was great.
Yeah.